So I came up with this phrase because as I was thinking about purpose, and it's really comes down to being intentional. And I was looking at my own life and how sometimes, you want something to happen, but it's not happening, or the version of the thing that you want to happen is different than what you were wanting. And some, you get mad at life because you're like, man, why didn't that happen? Or why did I get this? Why did I get? And I started to see in myself that it's because I wasn't specific about what it is I wanted to create. It's like saying, I want a job. Okay, but what kind of job?
Right.
Or I want a life partner. Okay, what kind of life partner? Being really specific and intentional about what it is that you're trying to create. And the analogy that I came up with is, it's like going to a drive-through for, let's say, McDonald's or whatever kind of fast food. And they say, hello, can I take your order? And you go, yeah, just give me some food. And they're like,
Or even better, I'm hungry.
yeah, I'm hungry. And they're like, okay, yeah, so I'm hungry.
Right.
I just give me some food.
Yeah.
And then you drive to the window and you look in the bag and you go, ew, why did you put this in there? I didn't order that. Well, you didn't tell me what you wanted, so you can't complain. So I started to see that in myself, see that pattern in
Mhm.
myself, and it really forced me to go, well, oh, Michelle, well, if you're not happy with what's showing up in your life, try being more intentional and specific about what you're asking for. Try calling in your order. And I swear, Seth, since I started doing that and implementing that practice, I really do write down my goals. I really do write down the things. I'm pointing to my little board over here. I write down very specifically what I want. I do mind maps of the things that I'm trying to create, whether it's my consulting business, whether it's, when I found this apartment or wanted to move to Charlotte from Los Angeles, I did a mind map of the kind of apartment I wanted to live in.
Yeah.
So I'm very specific about the things that I want to call into my life. And I've noticed a drastic change in my satisfaction with
Yeah.
what comes into my life.
Yeah. It's very, very powerful. I just love that three-step process. I love calling your order. I think the phrasing of it, but then, as you get deeper into it, being specific. And also, as the other three steps, there are fears or people want to stay with the familiar. So swinging out and verbalizing it or writing it down or having these exercises of mind mapping or whatever. People, the cynicism and the resignation are so ingrained that, to undo that, it just, again, maybe today's podcast is about courage, but it requires some fortitude and some grit and some confidence to really take that step. And it could be something simple. One of the things you said when you said, I thought it was going to take a year and it took 5 years. And if you told me it took 5 years, I wouldn't have done it. That's kind of what I'm pointing to. You know,
Yeah.
people are on a fitness kick and they want to lose a certain amount of weight or gain muscle or something like that. Typically, it's a slow burn, right? It's incremental. The book Atomic Habits by James Clear. It's a little bit every day. It's not you're going to turn into, the decathlon gold medalist, very recent Olympic reference, overnight, just like in acting. You were there on the set of Friends, on the set of Modern Family, NCIS, dealing with nominated award-winning actors. They were doing theater playhouses in the middle of some town at a county playhouse. It wasn't Matt LeBlanc didn't just show up on the cast of Friends,
Yeah. It's how bad do you want it?
Yeah. Yeah.
It really does, at least for me, that's what it came down to. How bad do I want to change my life? How bad do I want to feel better than I do today? And so commit to that, right? And also some curiosity about, why am I holding myself back? What's that voice that's telling me it's not going to work out or you can't do it? Get some curiosity about that, because I guarantee you it comes from somewhere, right? And I think there's a lot of value in discovering where that voice comes from and confronting it, and again being compassionate with it, right? And also just recommitting yourself every day to the journey.
Yeah.
And I'm also a very big believer in it's not the destination, it's the journey, right? I
Yeah.
think the things that we learn about ourselves, the things that we experience on the way to our goals are just as valuable as the goal itself.
Wholeheartedly agree. I want to underscore something about Michelle Ann Johnson for our listeners. We know we've had some amazing guests, meeting professionals, creative types, keynote speakers all across the board. A lot have talked about mindset, a lot have talked about communication, a lot have talked about transformation and personal power. For Michelle, not I think we're all get a sense in our conversation that you're dynamic. You as a coach, you mentioned you've been coaching people in your consultancy, and there's a unique blend of leadership and diversity and inclusion and personal development, all these things that make you you. And not that being on TV is like the end all be all, but bringing in the experience from that realm and that domain is a distinction, and you already mentioned it. Friends, Modern Family, NCIS, all these amazing shows that you've been on, what you learned, but you've also worked with executives from Lowe's and Deloitte and Amex and on and on. So there's this amplitude, this wide range of experience that you bring that's unique, and your presence is clear. It's obvious that you're in touch with your power and that you have the humility to know it's a process and not a destination.